go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews, connections of mind. Blue Beetle is one of the last in the DC Extended Universe films / possibly first in the reboot of the DC Universe under James Gunn. It is directed by Angel Manuel Soto and stars Xolo Maridueña as Jaime Reyes, a young man who just graduated from college, the first of his family to do so. However, when his family falls on hard times, he must work menial jobs to support them. But when when a strange piece of alien technology falls into his lap, he is engaged in a world that he is unprepared to enter, and he must navigate all the while protecting his family. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Blue Beetle. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first and foremost, but just so you know, there will be some spoilers later on in this review. However, let's get into some spoiler-free thoughts on Blue Beetle. Is it worth seeing in the theater? Is it a good DC film? Is it just a good film in general? I would say, as far as superhero movies go, this is definitely a okay time. I won't say this is definitely a blow your socks off kind of wow experience movie, at least as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, I didn't get that much being out of in a theater seeing this. I was still coming off a bit of a cold, so that definitely didn't help. But seeing this, it has the feel of a relatively generic superhero movie. I won't even go as far to say as it's a generic DC movie, because honestly, the way this movie approached itself, it had more of a Marvel feel, an early Marvel movie feel, than what the DC films that we've been coming to see recently. Now, that's not early Marvel films. Some of them were quite good, and so with this a good movie, I would say there are definitely some good moments in here. I think Xolo Maridueña is a decent lead as Jaime Reyes. He does I think he works better as outside of the Blue Beetle costume rather than in it, which is probably why you don't actually see him in the Blue Beetle costume very often, which is somewhat surprising. Also, we've got a good supporting cast. There's a lot of, family involved in this. I forget their name, but the grandmother, she's got some fun moments. George Lopez as the kooky and slightly paranoid uncle. I would say he's probably one of the standouts in this movie, along with, and if I butcher your name, I'm sorry, Melissa Escobedo. She plays the younger sister to Jaime, and she doesn't have a ton of scenes, but what she does have, I think she has a good chemistry with the guy who plays Jaime, and they've got some good chemistry going on. She's got some good comedic timing as well. She has some good line delivery. So those are the kind of moments that I think keep the movie going, because when we get into action sequences, when the Blue Beetle costume is fully forms and it's doing its own kind of thing, it looks fine, but it also looks very generic. I'll get into some I'll talk more about it in my spoiler review, but nothing about the Blue Beetle costume stands out per se. Nothing about his abilities really stands out. And maybe he has his niche in the DC universe. If all we had was the DC films, then it would fit in its own little niche. But I feel like this, because we've had so many superhero movies recently. This just has the look of too similar to other superhero movies that we've seen for it to really stand out that much. Also, Susan Sarandon plays the villain in this movie, and really she is. Yeah, they give her not really much to work with. It's not enough to just cast an A-list name and say, "Hey, it's Susan Sarandon, job done." Because yes, we have a lot of one-dimensional villains out there in comic book movies already, and she adds really nothing new to the table, and she's also not in that many scenes. And what scenes she is in, there's some twists. She does some evil things as you would expect a villain to do, but she doesn't go beyond that. They seem her actions feel calculated in such a way as to make you want to hate her, and so it's not like other movies don't do that, but this felt a little more manipulative, and I feel like they had a huge missed opportunity. They dived into it very briefly at the very end, but there's the more interesting, antagonist is Susan Sarandon's character's lieutenant, who I believe is called Lieutenant Carapax, and he has his own version of Beetle armor. And when they start going at it, he's kind of a ruthless character, but he's got his own backstory to go into. And when you go into that backstory, I feel like I wanted to know more about this guy. Why? Couldn't we have spent more time with him building up this? What eventually happens in the end? But nope. And there's typical there's a lot of commentary in here on because the main characters and the family are Latin American family. There's a lot of commentary on along those lines, and while yes, a lot of it is fair game, it's also again stuff we've seen before, and also it's not terribly clever, and it also feels kind of shoehorned in a lot of places, and you're not doing anything else with it. Like, for instance, there's one character who makes a turn, and who he works for Susan Sarandon's character, and she's beaten down on him. She's ignoring him, demeaning him, and then he makes a turn, and it's like, okay, great. I wish we could have built that up a little bit more instead of having maybe 3 scenes total with him before he does that. This is the kind of things that you're kind of dealing with in this movie. Also, you can't escape the fact that this is this movie doesn't know where it fits into the DC universe. I mean, I allude to it in the intro. This is either one of the last films in the legacy DC extended universe. I believe Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is going to be the very last one. Or James Gunn has indicated that if this movie, works out, then there's a place for him in the reboot of the DC universe, i.e., if it makes enough money at the box office. Which, given that they kind of had to play it safe in a way, because there's a name drop of Batman, which you've probably seen in the trailer. There's a name drop of Superman, and I believe there's a name drop of the Flash in there as well. And that's it. There's no other mentions of anything DC Universe related at all. So without that, I don't see this grabbing the DC, fans in there. I'm sure I've not read anything about the, Blue Beetle comics or whatever, so maybe there's some, diehard Blue Beetle fans out there, and this is going to be a movie that, first time on the big screen, woo! It's like, okay, maybe you'll get some enjoyment on there. I'm sure there's some Easter eggs in there that I definitely didn't pick up on. But I don't know if you're going to, aside from that, you're not going to attract any, casual DC fans, because the DC fans already know that this iteration of the universe is ending, which is, again, probably a main reason why, we've had this year Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash, That was probably a reason why those movies bombed. Maybe not the main reason, but probably a significant factor. So you're probably not going to, attract those fans. And if you're just a fan of superhero movies in general, this movie won't offend per se, but it's also not going to give you anything new. Like I said, this feels very generic from the superhero movie standpoint. So, on that front, I'm not sure how many people are going to be wowed over this as well. And then finally, just as a movie in general, it's serviceable. It has, characters that you're following. It builds up, the main characters, and it builds up some, side characters when you can. But other than that, really, there's not a whole lot else in here. This feels like a generic popcorn movie, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it also means it can be fairly disposable as well. So, if I was going to give Blue Beetle a letter grade, I would say this is a solid, I'll call it a B minus, because it's not bad, but it just barely does enough over the bare minimum for me to give it more than a C at this point. Because, like I said, George Lopez and the sister, they do their performances lifted up just enough. Plus, some of the sets are cool as well, and the music I'd say is pretty decent as well. So that's why I'd give Blue Beetle a B minus. Those are my main spoiler-free thoughts on Blue Beetle. Now let's get into some spoiler talk as certain plot developments, character arcs that may seem familiar to you, and where you may have seen them before. Like I said, this has a generic feel of a superhero movie, and I alluded earlier to a early Marvel movies, and I'd say the main conflict between Jaime and Carapax has a feel of the first Iron Man between Tony and Obadiah Stane, in that you have the battle of these same suits, whereas the villain gets the suit technology and upgrades it to theoretically more powerful than the good guy's suit, and you even have lines throughout there. Oh, you don't deserve this power, or something like that. Got those in there. There's even one instance in the final battle where Blue Beetle is channeling its energy and blasts Carapax back, and it looks like it's blasting out of the chest, very similar to Tony's original Iron Man suit blasting from the chest piece towards Warmonger, or Ironmonger, I guess is what the suit was. And also there's this conflict with the company, the Cord Foundation, or Cord Company, or Cord something, whatever. Anyway, the family company, where the daughter, there's the debate of, we make weapons. No, we don't want to make weapons. And I'm going to use the suits, your technology to make more weapons. Also, there is another Marvel connection that can be made here, and this one might be a little more obvious. And I would say Ant-Man is the more direct comparison to be made here, because we've got two bug-centric superheroes here, and they're coming to they're both the heroes are both trying to come to grasp with their technology of their suits, and the what powers it has, the limitations of it, and there's the parallel here between I forget the love interest's name, Jenny. Yes, Jenny, I think is her name, Jenny Cord or whatever. And Hope Van Dyne in Ant-Man, where you have the love interests of the hero's parents were a earlier incarnation of that hero. Janet Van Dyne was the Wasp. Jenny Cord's father was the original Blue Beetle, and there's presumed to be dead. However, it's revealed later that they're alive somewhere, and they're trying to get back to them. So there's that parallel to be made as well, and just these two examples here makes me we've seen this setup before, and it's not that you can't repeat a setup, it's just that you have to add something new to it. And I don't think Blue Beetle adds enough new to the table in order to make it stand out more than just a fairly generic disposable popcorn movie. And I feel like if this is either the last of the legacy DC films or one of the first of the reboot DCU films, it's either an end or a beginning on a whimper, as far as I'm concerned. But what did you think of Blue Beetle? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Gran Turismo, which, due to the scheduling, it should be coming out this coming week, the 25th, I believe. And also look for my TV review of my full season recap and review of Season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds on my channel now. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.